All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We're going to get started. Here we go. So, the University of Florida is a non discriminatory, equal opportunity employer and service provider for the community. Welcome, everybody, to the Florida Friendly Landscaping webinar series, part two of the 10-part webinar series. Welcome to Right Plant, Right Place. We're excited to have you join us for this month's installment, focusing on the essential principles of right plant, right place. Thank you for participating, and I look forward to discussing these important issues with you today. Today, we will discuss the principle of right plant, right place. This involves planting your landscape with trees, shrubs, ground covers, and mulch while utilizing available Florida-friendly landscaping resources. So the mission of Florida-friendly landscaping is to educate Floridians about science-based, environmentally friendly landscaping practices and to encourage them to conserve and protect our water resources by applying Florida-friendly landscaping principles in their landscape. So what is it? It's an integrated approach to maintaining an attractive, colorful, and diverse yard. We say less work than the traditional landscape. We're friendly to wildlife and environmentally responsible management of landscaping. Our goals are to conserve water, protect water quality, and protect natural resources. In 2019, Florida Statute 373185 defines what Florida friendly landscaping is. And it means quality landscapes that conserve water, protect the environment, and are adaptable to local conditions and are drought tolerant. So again, we aim to educate the public on water quality and conservation by promoting environmentally friendly landscape practices. It also encourages water management districts to implement incentive programs for local governments to adopt FFL ordinance. In addition, the legislation states that local government ordinances, deed restrictions, and covenants may not prohibit Florida-friendly landscaping practices. So the principles are all tied together. Right plant, right place is the overriding principle because if plants are adapted to your site's conditions, they will require less irrigation, fertilizer, and are less prone to pest. This can result in real cost savings and is better for the environment. Your yard is the first line of defense in preserving Florida's fragile environment. The FFL program is happily active in 59 of Florida's 67 counties, including Hillsborough. So choosing plants suited to their environment is key to a thriving landscape. This principle considers moisture, light, soil, temperature, and other site characteristics. Start with careful planning and site evaluation. Plants poorly suited for their local location will struggle despite their best practices. When planted in the right spot, plants are more resistant to pests and are and environmentally stress and drought stress let so sorry stress they can deal with the environmental stresses like drought or shade. Thank you. All right. So plants that require excessive pruning, irrigation, or supplemental fertilizers are not Florida friendly. Rock yards are not suitable for Florida's climate as they increase heat, stress plants, and provide no benefits for wildlife. Instead, opt for plants that are adapted to local conditions and require minimal maintenance, ensuring a sustainable and thriving landscape. We're going to show you how to do that. Don't worry. It all starts with planning your landscape. This involves several key steps to ensure a beautiful, sustainable, and low maintenance outdoor space. So proper planning avoids problems later on, saving you time, money, and precious Florida water. It results in a beautiful, low maintenance, and functional yard. By matching plants to your yard's specific conditions, you ensure a thriving landscape that meets your needs while being environmentally friendly. We have a prime example here. It's a extended bedding. There's a variety of different types of plants so we attract different types of wildlife and provide for more than just one. So remember, landscaping is a process, not a one-time event. Landscaping is a continuous process that requires knowing your plants and their needs. If you need to know more about your plants and their needs, consult with your local UFIFAS County Extension Office. Our phone number is right there. We love talking plants. We love answering questions, and coming in and seeing some of our gardens and see the live plants as a living example. Please come by and see them. So we start right with the site analysis. What do we have and how can I use it? So we want to determine what you want to keep or change in your landscape. This diagram is a great thing to start drawing of your house. So you can note the areas of shade, know when you have full morning or afternoon sun, or maybe areas that get full evening sun. Some places that might have deep shade, and also make notes of areas of standing water. And for how long and after the rain and or irrigation does it stay? Look for areas that might collect for a couple of hours but still percolate down. Make note of those. You also want to know your soil characteristics or soil types. Sand, clay, silt all make up at a different percentage different types of soil. Loam is a 40% sand, 40% silt, and 20% clay by weight. In Florida, we lean more on that sandy loam side of the spectrum. So you can see in the upper right, I mean the upper right, that triangle diagram, the colorful one, it shows you on percentages of what is in there makes up different soil. So knowing that is a very good way to start. Do we then look at what kind of views do we have outside and inside of the house? When I look out of my window there, can I see all the way out to my mailbox? Can I see my neighbors? I don't want anything like a shrub going above that, and I don't want any trees, canopies to kind of block and go below that. So we keep that kind of area clear so we can see through. Also take note of your hardscapes, which could be your driveways, pools, if they're screened in, or if you have a fence in the backyard. Also take note of your utility lines, which could be overhead or underground. To learn more about if you have underground and where they are, you can call 811. It's a free service that comes out and tells you what's underground before you dig. Another great resource, use the Florida Friendly Landscaping Plant Guide to Plant Selection and Landscape Design. This will tell you how to pick the right plant for the right place. So this selects plants recommended for your specific zone, pH, soil composition, light range, and other relevant factors. So what I have for you is page 41. You want to refer to this. This is the key of the guide and how to understand the symbols used to indicate plant characteristics and their needs. I have the example of a Simpson stopper, so you can kind of see the breakdown there, and that key will help you understand what all of that means. So this is a plant that does well in Central or South Florida in zones 9 to 11. Yes, it's a Florida native. It wants to grow at a height of around 10 to 30 feet, and it grows a width of about 5 to 20 feet. It also then tells us a lot of great other information like sun requirements, water requirements, salt tolerance, sun tolerance, and what kind of wildlife could attract it. So very good information. There's over 400, I believe, plants in there, and we have this information for everyone broken down into every category that we're explaining today. Your ground covers, your shrubs, your annuals, your perennials. So use this book. It's a resource for you. All right, so next questions to ask would be, how do I currently use the property? To create a landscape that meets your needs, consider how you currently use it. Think about family activities, outdoor games, play areas. If you enjoy cooking outdoors or you plan for an outdoor kitchen, consider spaces for hosting events or parties or gatherings. These are all great activities for the yard. So reflect on what you do in your landscape and what you want to achieve in your outdoor space. So when creating a landscape plan, So you gather that information and we start formulating a plan. And when creating that landscape plan, we start by thinking of a theme, right? Do I want to be tropical? Do I want to be Florida native? Do I want to be contemporary, right? Or we can look around at our neighbors and kind of match our community's aesthetics. Arrange activity areas to ensure functional spaces. Draw where you want to place trees, shrubs, ground covers, or flowering plants. Remember to group those plants accordingly to their needs to ensure that they thrive in their designated spaces. In the upper right photo, you see a client who strategically placed her vegetable garden in both sunny and shady areas. She also uses a rain barrel and a hose to redirect rainfall away from the side of her house, showcasing effective water management and resourcefulness. She's collecting that water in the rain barrel there with the rain chain. She keeps it open and allows the water then to go out when she wants to drain it all the way to the side of her house down a swaleway where she's created a rain bog garden. So she offsets excess water, she stores it, and then when she doesn't need it, she offsets it into her bog. Beautiful example right there. So these photos illustrate poor design choices that result in high maintenance or just issues. So one key issue is using the same irrigation system for turf, shrubs, and palms. All three of these have different watering needs and really fertilizer needs. So this mismatch can lead to overwatering or underwatering, which increases maintenance and potentially harming the plants. So you can see in that bottom middle one, for example, I see two spots where pop-up high volume irrigations are. So if so, they're really required more for um, establishment of plants and supplemental periods. These are not a continuance. They don't need them all the time. So the grass, the shrubs, and the trees are all getting fed on the same system when they really don't need. Another big one would be like the palm tree and the grass on the bottom left. Um, that is just a very narrow area. We have grass all the way up to that fence, and we got a lot of plants that we would have to use a string trimmer and be very, very, very um, tedious, right, around that. You have to be very meticulous so you don't damage the fence, damage that, or really get anything in your pool. That is not an ideal area for grass. I would replace that with something else. And similar situations in the rest. The top left one are just too small of of a ring around the tree. You have a very narrow strip of grass between the sidewalk there. I would extend that bedding all the way out and take those four plants that are in that mulching and add them onto the side. This reduces the need of even mowing that area at all. So again, just level of maintenance, design characteristics, just try to think and match them all to similar requirements. So also the big one, we want to think about the full maturity of the plant before planting. Consider factors such as plant shape, tolerance for salty conditions, sun or shade needs, soil pH preference, pest resistance, and whether the plant is Florida native or non-native. We can see pretty well on what happens when a plant reaches full maturity in an area where it shouldn't have been planted or allowed to grow. So now we're going to talk site preparation. So to prepare your landscape, start by removing unwanted vegetation, debris, competing plants, or anything you just don't want to keep. Address any drainage issues in this point, and any severe to moderate slopes. A slope is something that could just, anything over 1%, and that's a very small slope, but anything over 1% can cause erosion. So we kind of really want to level the ground out and not encourage erosion. So finally, then test and amend your soil to create optimal growing conditions for your plants. Soil testings are something we do all the time here. Every Friday, we test soil for pH. It costs $3 per sample if you wanted to bring those in. You can also mail them to us at Extension and we'll take care of that for you. You get an email result back on the pH. So that tells you some information there. And if you want to learn more, there's a $10 test we send to Gainesville that helps with the fertility and the available elements or nutrients that are in your soil. That helps with better understanding how to apply fertilizer. So test that, amend your soil, and start building a good foundation for your plants. Something to consider for new constructions and even for some older ones. Compacted soils limit root growth by restricting space, reducing oxygen, and hindering water absorption, which can lead to stunted plants and poor overall health. Limited root space from construction, right? They bring in tons of material and they just leave it sometimes. Or they park very heavy machinery or drive over it with heavy machinery consistently. Oh, and that just packs, especially in Florida in our sands, packs and packs it down. Um, Additionally, also, debris or spills from machinery during construction create toxic conditions for roots, exaggerating these conditions. And when you think about it, the last thing that kind of goes in after all of this construction, you got foundation, framing, all the outside of the house, all the inside of the house, all the finishing stuff. Then well, if they have plumbing, then if they had anything else, then we go and install the landscape and go, you know, and then wonder why it starts showing problems. So compaction of the soil, especially in older development areas too. With Florida, we have heavy rains, so we get heavy rains that annually compact those soils down. So just look at the soil. A good thing that you can do is called core aeration or just aeration of the soil is great. I like to do it every other year or so when the soil seems a little bit compacted. Core aeration, just like it sounds, you pop holes into the ground. This allows roots and stuff to kind of move around, and it creates kind of like a boost of growth. It helps. So then, moving along, still in site preparation, but it's really important that after we do all the work on our soil and we make sure our ground is good, that we're selecting plants that are healthy to go in the ground. So you want to look for signs of new growth. I love when looking for flowering plants. Yes, it's amazing to buy them full of flowers, but I like looking for them full of buds that are about to open and be new flowers. That tells me that plant is about to just, bloom out, and that's what I look for. Also, healthy roots should be white and fibrous. Don't be timid to lift it when you're at the store to take it out and look at the actual roots. Take it out of the pot. If you see white roots, fibrous, looking nice, perfect, right? But if you're looking at it and it's brown, slimy, and just it does not look right, it might have an odor. That's a lot of signs that, hey, that plant's not happy right now. Let's put that one down. Also avoid purchasing pot pot bound plants, right? So that one in the bottom right, you might go, okay, it's white and fibrous and there's a lot of roots. This is great. In this situation, that plant has really been in the pot for too long. um, we're really going to have to do a lot of cutting of those roots to get them to kind of stretch out. I've seen so many times that a plant like this gets planted in the ground and you come back a year, maybe 2 years later, and you pull it out. It's the exact same size. The roots haven't gone anywhere and they kind of just stay very compacted. Um, that's we call that pot bound. That's just when there's too much roots in there, right? Look for something with a little bit less than that. And then also, obviously, steer clear of plants that are showing disease or insect infestations. I've done it myself. I've gotten a plant. I've walked up to the front to go check it out, and I'm looking at it in line, and I go, oh, this thing's covered in mealy bugs. And I'm just like, oh God. So I go and I put it back. I look to see if there's any ones that don't have the bugs, and I'll purchase that. So just buying healthy plants, that's a great way to start. Source reputable nurseries, and go from there. All right. So a big one now that we want to avoid are what are considered invasive plants. So we have the UF-IFAS assessment. And so before introducing a non-native plant to your landscape, it is very crucial to understand its potential impact on Florida's natural areas. We have a website. The link is right there, assessment.ifas.ufl.edu, or just if you do UFIFAS assessment, you should find it. You could enter in plants and look at them and look at lists to see what are considered invasive. They'll also tell you ways to get rid of these plants too. Here are some of the common invasive ones that we see here in our area of Central Florida, Hillsborough County, and a lot of these are sold at the big box stores. Unfortunately, we don't have control over that. The best thing we do is try to educate as much as possible about these invasive species, like Ruella simplex there, the Mexican petunia. Um, that's a big no-no. It wildly spreads and it is considered invasive, as well as Lantana strigocamara, the one that's yellow to orange there. Looks beautiful, but this one can actually um, cause severe damage to cattle. Um, in a week's time, if they eat this, it creates a neurological thing. It can end the life of a cow, and if that's your business, then that's unfortunate there. Oyster plant is another one. A big one is air potato, Discoloria bulbifera. We've actually created biocontrol, which is a living organism that goes and attacks another one, right? So we use a beetle to go out and eat this air potato, which is showing good results. So that's neat. We are trying to stop this plant from invading and taking over native species and altering our ecosystems here. So another big one is the purple orchid tree. It's beautiful, but unfortunately invasive, as well as asparagus fern. That thing just gets everywhere and it's kind of annoying to get rid of. So be aware and get familiar with your invasive plants. The best way to start is by not buying them. All right, so now we're going to talk about some specifics on different types of plants. So we're going to talk about trees in the landscape. So trees play a foundational role in your landscape by providing a framework for other elements. They add color and texture, offer shade, and increase property values. Properly planted trees can also attract wildlife and help reduce energy cost by providing cooling shade during warmer months. And we all love the look of just those oaks right there. They have the what we call Spanish moss, which is a tillandsia hanging from there. And we have, birds love it too. And we love seeing birds in trees. A great organization is ISA, the International Society of Arboriculture, and you can look them up and find and become, if you'd like, a certified arborist. So they help with consultations, risk assessments, and you can find a certified arborist at the website treesaregood.org. Okay, so trees are a long-term investment in your landscape. So careful site selection and proper planting are crucial. Consider the tree's mature size and avoid overhead power lines, like you see in the image here. We want to plant trees at least 15 feet from your home's foundation. Remember, and this is a big one. Your tree roots grow outward, not downward, with 80 to 90% of the root system on the top 18 to 24 inches, so within the first 2 feet. And typically these roots extend about 3 times the branch spread. So roots really stretch far and wide. So we want to think about that when we're planting them too. So proper tree planting and establishment are essential for balancing air and moisture in the soil, ensuring healthy growth. The most common causes of poor plant establishment include planting too deep, right? Underwatering, overwatering, and overmulching. And I've learned a new one recently from a coworker, Jeff. He tells me one of the biggest ones is not removing the tree stake or whatever you use to hold the tree in place once it's established. Leaving those on can really choke out and kill a tree. So avoid these mistakes to give your trees the best start in your landscape. This is an example of planting too low. And what I say is when planting trees, it's crucial to avoid planting too deep. The top of the soil in the pot should be slightly above the ground, typically 1 to 2 inches above the surrounding soil level. What I like to say is you plant it high, it will thrive. You plant it low, it won't grow. So this ensures the root flare remains visible and exposed, preventing issues like reduced oxygen in the soil and root rot from excessive moisture. Planting too deep can lead to a stunted growth and even tree death over time. All right. So some trees can be planted any time of the year, but proper care is essential for successful establishment. Avoid fertilizing until the tree is fully established and use proper irrigation management to support healthy growth. Establishment typically takes 3 to 4 months per inch of trunk caliper. So a 2 inch trunk tree will need about 6 to 8 months of consistent watering. We want to provide 2 to 3 gallons of water per inch of trunk diameter, meaning a 2 inch tree should receive 4 to 6 gallons per irrigation. So if you think about that, wow, that's a lot. 4 to 6 gallons per irrigation, and for 3 to 4 months, so that's 6 to 8 months that we're going to have to water that. Now, you're not watering every day or anything. You're watering on a regular schedule, but you got to provide um, the amount of gallons and also have to do it for the right amount of time, for the extended amount of time. So just consider that um, when establishing trees or thinking about how if we're going to plant a tree, can we properly water it? How are we going to get water there? Do we have a hose, or we do have a like do we have irrigation? So just set that up before and have that ready. All right. So now let's discuss shrubs and their place in the landscape. So a shrub is typically defined as a multi-stemmed, woody perennial plant with branches that form low to the ground. Shrubs provide structure, texture, and color to the landscape, and many can be pruned to form hedges or topiary figures, offering versatility and aesthetics all in the landscape. Planting in large groups simplifies maintenance and creates visual impacts in the landscape. We want to group plants accordingly to their water and maintenance needs to ensure efficient care. Always space plants based on their maturity size to prevent crowding, and allow them to thrive as they grow. So when planting shrubs near structures, consider their maturity size. So if we have a shrub that's going to be 5 foot wide at maturity, plant it at a distance of half its maturity plus 1 foot from the wall. So at 5 feet, half of it is 2.5 feet plus a foot. So we'll plant that 3.5 feet. This ensures that we have adequate space for growth, which will allow great air circulation and also maintenance while preventing overcrowding or damage to the structure. When planting it near your house or right, like on the side where we might have a drip line, to prevent water damage and erosion, we want to keep the plants away from that drip line. Plant it off from it. This again allows for better air circulation, easier access to it for maintenance, and helps prevent root damage and damage to the foundation. So when choosing, so once we have our shrubs, we always say to mulch, and when choosing a mulch, we want to consider factors, of course, like cost, then color, the origins of where it came from, the durability of it, the nutrient content, texture, and appearance. So annually, you want to replenish your mulch to maintain a 2 to 3 inch depth after settling, and you want to avoid what we see in the red there, volcano mulching, which can tremendously degrade and harm plants. So you rake your old mulch to prevent matting and improve water and airflow. Use sustainable options like pine bark or straw, eucalyptus, melaleuca, or fallen leaves. But we just say to avoid cypress mulch due to uncertain harvesting practices. All right. Ooh. Okay. So now let's get down to ground covers. So ground covers are defined are plants that spread horizontally, serving multiple purposes in landscaping. While grass is the most familiar ground cover, other plants can be used where grass is hard to grow or maintain. And unlike grass, most ground cover plants are not suitable for foot traffic. So they're best used in areas where they won't be walked on. This in the picture is my favorite, and it's a native. This is Phylla notiflora, also called matchweed or frog fruit. The flower is I blow it. I enlarged it. It's so cute. It's a little white petals around a purple little little pin there. It looks like, but they're super small, and they fill the whole area. I remember them as a kid, like flicking them at my friends at the bus stop. And it's just a great memory. And it's a great native ground cover. So to remember, ground covers are versatile plants. They can help control erosion, they can mark property lines, and they can create barriers to reduce foot traffic. Also, they can direct visual attention to a specific area of the landscape. When selecting ground covers, consider factors such as the level of maintenance required, their color, the contrast, and the texture to ensure they fit your landscape goals. Um, in this example, we have perennial peanut. It is a wonderful ground cover. It can be mowed just like grass to keep it low, or it tends to be a little bit taller when it's not mowed. Uh, they have varieties of different sizes of those flowers. Some are smaller, some stick up taller, some are bigger, some are actually orange. So there are a lot of varieties of perennial peanuts out there that you can utilize in the landscape. And also, turf is beneficial in many ways. Okay. It filters pollutants from stormwater runoff. This prevents erosion and it cools and cleans the air. Additionally, turf reduces glare and noise, making it a valuable component of a well-designed landscape. Uh, so some turf stats, right? So 25 square feet of turf provides the oxygen requirements for one person per day. Front lawns of 8 average houses have the cooling effect of 70 tons of air conditioning. I know these are just facts and stacks, but what I'm trying to say is turf can still play an important role in the landscape if used appropriately. Here are 5 examples of turf grass. We're going to go into them a little bit more in the future and talk about their advantages and disadvantages. But a good rule for maintaining healthy lawns is to never remove more than 1/3 of the grass blade length during a single mowing session. So this helps prevent stress to the grass and promotes a lush, resilient lawn. So for example, we'll use St. Augustine. And when maintaining St. Augustine grass at a height of 4 inches, it's best to mow when it reaches about 6 inches tall. That's 1/3. This ensures you're not removing more than that. So by following this rule, you can keep your lawn healthy and looking its best. A great tip and tool, I like to I'll take a PVC pipe, keep it a little bit longer, maybe cut it at 10 to 12 inches, and I'll put it in a part of my lawn and I'll mark where the 4 inch mark is and where the 6 inch mark is. When I see the grass getting up to that 6 inch, well, I know I can safely mow my lawn then. Put my put my PVC pipe ruler right back when I'm done and wait for it to grow back up. That's a great way to kind of get into a good habit and then you kind of start learning your pattern. So we'll start with St. Augustine grass. So this offers several advantages. You know, it has dense growth habit that helps suppress weeds, and there are shade tolerant cultivars available. It's also salt tolerant. It establishes easy, and it's very widely available. Additionally, it tolerates a wide range of soil pH levels. However, it has some drawbacks. St. Augustine grass may require irrigation during prolonged droughts and can develop thatch buildup if over-fertilized or overwatered. It has poor tolerance to heavy wear or foot traffic and has a coarse leaf texture, giving it a rough appearance. Overall, it's a popular choice in the southern states, but it requires careful management. Usually, you have to run your irrigation system, you have to fertilize, and you have to continuously maintenance this plant. All right, so Seville and Damar are dwarf cultivars. So Seville is a semi-dwarf cultivar with long leaf blades and a blue-green hue. It thrives in sandy areas, tolerates salt and drought, and adapts to a wide soil pH. It's less common than Damar, which is another semi-dwarf cultivar. This one is more known for the emerald green color and its excellent cold tolerance. It's often sold as sod or plugs and performs well in both sun and shade. Floritam is a popular St. Augustine grass cultivar. You probably have heard about it if you've gone to a big box store. That's usually the one they sell. It's known for its coarse texture, wide blades, and a vibrant dark green color. It was released in 1973 by the University of Florida and Texas A&M, and it was developed for chinch bug resistance. This variety thrives in full sun. It grows aggressively in warm weather, making it ideal for our Florida climate. It struggles, though, in the shade and in cold temperatures, but it is very drought tolerant, salt tolerant, and performs well in a variety of soils. It's a durable choice for high traffic areas too. So the one on top, Citra Blue, that's a new release of St. Augustine uh, by the University of Florida. This was released in 2019. It features a vibrant blue-green color and excellent disease resistant. It tolerates also shade very well and has a dense canopy. It's also, unlike regular St. Augustine, this has a soft leaf texture. The grass is also adaptable to various soils and suitable for residential and commercial landscapes, making it a great choice for Florida in our climate. Bahia grass is this offers several advantages. It has extensive root system, making it drought tolerant and eliminating the need for supplemental irrigation. It can go completely dormant where it looks dead, but with just a little bit of water, it comes right back vibrant and full and lush very quickly. It also requires low fertilizer inputs. And it can be established with seed or sod and generally has few pest problems. However, though, there are some drawbacks. In the picture, you can see those tall seed heads that look like V's. They produce them in the summer when we're at our heaviest growth period and we're mowing a lot. And so these just dull your mower blades more quickly. So note that in mind. And then also, it's not suited for high pH soils and has a low tolerance for shade and foot traffic. Um, but ideally, though, it's a great for roadways, right? Highways, side of the roads, backyards, or just it is fairly good. So some other varieties of grasses, zoysia grass is becoming popular. This is originally from Asia. It has become popular in the U.S. for their attractive turf. Some newer cultivars offer improved insect resistance, the faster establishment, and better overall performance. They adapt well to various soil types and tolerate shade, salt, and foot traffic. So when this is properly managed, zoysia grass forms a dense ground cover, and that resists weed invasions. And then they also spread through rhizomes and stolons, contributing to their dense growth. So they can repair very quickly as well if they get a damage or a hole or something happens, right? So while generally resistant to pest, some can still be problematic. So some disadvantages, zoysia grass is known for its drought tolerance and low maintenance needs, but it does have slow establishment period and turns brown during winter dormancy, limiting its suitability to warmer climates. Also, the mow height of it is about 2.5 inches to 1.5 inches. So some mowers, if they don't go that low, you might have to make sure your mower does cut to that low. All right. The fourth one of that is centipede grass. So this can be established using seed or vegetative methods like sods, plugs, or sprigs. The optimal time for seeding of this is April to July, allowing for a full growing season before cold weather. This grass thrives in acidic soil with a pH range of 4.5 to 6.5. That's acidic. And if your soil pH is high, centipede grass may not be the best choice for your lawn. Be aware that centipede grass will turn brown during dry periods without irrigation or rainfall, so proper watering is essential for maintaining its appearance. And finally, one of my favorites, Bermuda grass. Bermuda grass originated in Africa. Although it's not native to Bermuda, it is an abundant invasive species there. So it's presumed to have arrived in North America from Bermuda, resulting that's how it got its common name. So in Bermuda, it has been known as crabgrass, but it's an invasive weed there. We brought it here, and it thrives in our sports turf. So there's a variety called Tifway 419. It's a hybrid Bermuda grass, and it's been used on most popular sports turfs in the last 50 years. So your golf, your baseball, your football, they're using a Bermuda grass out there. So but it also makes an amazing turf for the home landscape. You can see that mowing height, a half inch to 1.5 inch. So that one is definitely going to require a special mower or a reel, REEL mower. And they cut a little bit differently than a rotary mower. Just real fun to maintain Bermuda grass. All right, so wrapping things up, we're going to explore some design tips and resources to help you implement these principles effectively. So, at Florida Friendly Landscaping, we design and install landscapes that use drought tolerant plants, proper soil preparation, efficient irrigation systems, and mulching to minimize the need for supplemental irrigation, which is only applied on an ad needed basis. So, these landscapes you see how the plants are native and non-native adaptive that once they're established require pretty much what Florida receives annually as rainfall, about 55 to 60 inches per year. And we have irrigation systems installed just for supplemental periods in case we go through periods of drought. That's what we call an ad needed basis. All right. So again, these are some tips, right, of those narrow strips of grasses. These are difficult to maintain. I showed you, right, we have turf grass, we have shrubs, and we have palms, kind of all in the same area. They all require different watering needs. So we want to group plants according to their watering needs. Some people call that hydrozoning, but really this helps optimize irrigation efficiency and reduce waste. And also that maintenance problem on the right there with the fence, the pool, the plants. Ay, ay, ay. I would not like doing that strip every 2 weeks. So some more, reduce unnecessary curve and tight corners in the landscape. These designs can simplify maintenance, improve accessibility, and enhance the overall functionality of your outdoor spaces. So as the one on the left, they've cut in a little bit of some turf grass there, and really, really though that's just we're going too far in with the mower. And then on the right side, that very small strip of grass outside of the mulching, ideally you could extend that mulched area out. Take those 4 plants, plant them to the right there, and reduce that grass again. That's ideal, right? So just think about that. Reduce unnecessary curves, tight corners. So something like this here, these are great examples. We've extended it out. You can just kind of get in and out with the mower. Everything kind of flows. We have diversity of plants. We have mulchings. The palms are outside of the trees. They're mulched in. That's more ideal than being directly in the turf grass. These are great examples. These examples demonstrate how Florida-friendly landscaping can create low-maintenance landscapes that provide habitat for wildlife while offering a vibrant contrast of textures and colors, enhancing both functionality and aesthetics appeal. Here's an example of before and after. So before, this backyard was dominated by turf grass with narrow plant beddings along the perimeter. They kind of did that traditional thing where cut around the corner, cut around the house. All right, neat. But after the transformation, the homeowner added pathways, pavers, mulching, extended the beddings outward and removed unnecessary turf. This design not only reduces maintenance, but also creates a more functional and visually appealing outdoor space. And if you could tell too, it's a lot more shaded, which would invite a lot more wildlife there. Butterflies, good stuff, beautiful birds. I love it. And the pathway gets you back to the shed safely, and also looks great. Good job there. So the Florida Friendly Landscaping Program offers extensive educational materials to encourage sustainable practices. So the website there is where you can get these free publications. The first one is the Florida Yards and Neighborhoods Handbook. That's the one I love telling everybody to start with. That breaks down the 9 principles for the homeowner and goes into great detail on each one on what each principle means for the homeowner. That middle one, the Florida Friendly Landscaping Guide to Plant Selection and Landscape Design, is the book I says that has about 400 plants in there. Tells you from trees, small, large, shrubs, ground covers, grasses, palms, all different types of variety of plants. This will help you with your planning and design. The one on the end is the Best Management Green Industries. That one is tailored to our professionals, our landscapers that are out there. They get certified that they are GIBMP, and they will do the 9 principles out there while they're performing professional jobs. These are so they could look like this if you go to that website. They could also, these are the newer or modern ones. They kind of look like that. Again, it's the same books. We have the home landscape, we have the plant selection guide, and then we have the BMP on the right in blue for the professionals. They're all free and available for you at the website below. They're great resources for you to have. Um, okay, I'm gonna just mention this since I'm gonna post it. We had Lynn Barber as a guest appearance today. She oversees the Tampa Bay Waterwise Awards, which are about to start accepting applications. They start April, so you can check it out. These are it's a great way to get somebody to come out, look at your landscape, tell you recommendations or congratulate you on doing a great job. And you can enter your yard to win a beautiful stepping stone. Scan the QR code there or go to the website on top for further information. If you'd like to reach out to Lynn, her information is right there on the screen. And now is where I usually have room for questions. This is going to be submitted onto YouTube. So if you do have questions, please reach out to me. My name is Michael Masucci. My email is going to be down in the comments. And I'd love to hear your comments about the presentation. If you have any questions about the material, if you have any suggestions for future webinars, please, please, please get in touch. As of today, it is March 20th, 2025, and our next webinar is going to be on April 17th, 2025, which will be Water Efficiently, FFL Principle number 2. So that'll be at 10 a.m. again. You can still sign up if you are watching this before then. If not, we probably are going to upload a recording of it. So thank you very much for joining us today to learn about right plant, right place practices and Florida friendly landscaping. We appreciate your time and engagement. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I invite you to take our next webinar and just come on down to Extension and just see what we got here for you. Thank you again, and have a wonderful, wonderful time in your landscape.